Now, it is very important that you guys know that there has never been an interruption, an outage of internet in Côte d'Ivoire. Now, since we are heading toward 2025, let's wait and
Recording
see.
in progress.
Senegal and Benin have had internet outage in the past. Nigeria has had Twitter off for a specific period of time, but Côte d'Ivoire has never seen that type of thing. So we hope that your presence here will help us improve things. And we are also expecting the elections next year.
Digital curfew.
And we may have a digital curfew soon. Now, dear member of AfriLeague, thank you so much for the work you guys have been putting in. At the point in time, we didn't have that. Now we have it. It's not perfect, but it is still ongoing and getting better. Welcome, dear one. Thank you, Nina. Now, I think I'm going to call my panelist, Mr. Kofi Amo from Civics. Mr. Kono Rafael, who is going to come as we will start. We also have Mr. Oluwaseyo. So this panel will be both in French and English, since we have the translation. We have two of them who are speaking French and one who speaks French. We are also expecting Mr. Namani.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So the last nurse, he said that he was going to do something quickly and he will join us. Alors, je demandais à tout le monde de mettre.
So I would like to ask each of you to have your headsets on, because we're going to have both English and French spoken. So my name is Brice Saba. I'm in charge of technical engagement at AfriLeague, and I'm a panelist here with my experts. We'll talk about internet point of exchange, data center, and data center and internet. So we have Mr. Kofi Armand, Mr. Kono Rafael, and Mr. Oluwaseyo. And Mr. Joseph, who is the fourth panelist that will substitute Mr. Namani, that couldn't make it here.
Internet exchange point in the data center, and we are going straight to start the introduction. I've introduced myself, so now I'll give the floor for my panelists to introduce themselves. So tell us where you are from, what's your business, what you are currently doing, and the name of your organization. Starting by my neighbor.
Thank you, Bruce. It's our MC today. Good morning, each and everyone. My name is Kofi, and I'm of Internet of Exchange Department at MPC, which is the Regulation Authority for Telecommunications. And I'm also the president of the Exchange Committee of La Côte d'Ivoire. And I'm also panelist this afternoon.
Everyone, my French is not so good,
It's okay.
right? So my name is Shadami. I head the solutions team for Miwan across West Africa. You know, Miwan also owns MDXI. Both company has been acquired by Equinix, the number one digital infrastructure company in the world. So data center in key market in West Africa, and we're host to the biggest IXPs in the region. We have the Internet Exchange of Nigeria in our data center. We have AM6 in our data center. We have GIGSA in Ghana, and we also have partnership. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Joseph, over to you.
Hi, my name is Joseph. I'm the MD for Digital Realty. Digital Realty data center provider, global data center provider. Specifically in West Africa, we are present in Nigeria and then Ghana, where we are starting up. And we are also the host of the 2 Africa submarine cable, or we are providing the cable landing points for this infrastructure in Ghana and then Nigeria.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. So let's start by the beginning. We are going to talk about internet exchange points. So my first question will go to the to Kofi Ama. You are running the civics with the internet exchange point for Côte d'Ivoire. So what is an internet exchange point? How can you define it?
Merci beaucoup. An internet point of exchange, per definition, is an IP platform on which the operators, telecoms, internet providers, and all the companies other than the operators respecting all the functions and systems come and set up some sessions PGP so as to keep the local international traffic. So this is all about this infrastructure.
For you, but I'll come back. Your name, Oluwa? Shy. Okay, Shy is better. Okay, so the next question is interesting because we all know about an ISP, internet service provider. Everybody, what is an ISP? And but you are running the both of the business. You are running internet service point. You are also an ISP. So what is the difference between an ISP and an ISP? So can you tell us what is what differ from one to another?
Oh, okay. So is provider, which is services to its end customer. And the exchange point is a exchange, and sometimes it is set up to help with localizing traffic, enable local switching in a particular region. Now, the way it works is that if you're an internet service provider, what you sell to your end customer also includes what you get from an ISP, the ISP point, because the routes, the network that you sell in combination of the transit link, all the access network of connecting to the different exchange points. So both are not the same, they are different. The ISP needs the ISP needs the internet exchange point, right? And the internet exchange point help is to localize the traffic.
Okay, all right. So what you are going to learn is that the ISP is the one that is giving internet connectivity to customer, and it also need to and is local. right? So now let's help the stakeholder. So we're still talking. We're still talking about so the I want he said that we're talking about local traffic.
Yeah.
So what is the local traffic? So I mean, I want you to tell us more about that, so that people can get what you mean by keep local traffic local, because we're all techies, but maybe people
Okay, great.
really, and also the give more about the purpose of these internet exchange points. If you can elaborate more about that.
That's fine. So talking about local traffic, and if we know so how the internet works, really, it's a means of communication where we send a message to a receiver, from a sender to a receiver. How the sender sends and how the receiver receives matters, right? Because that determines performance, how fast that message gets to the end user. Now, what the ISP help us to achieve is to create a platform that enables the ISPs to have a shorter means to send those traffic to reach the endpoint. I'll give a scenario. Before Africa or West Africa developed to what it is today, if I'm sitting here to talk to my colleague on my right and I send him a message, it goes all the way to the closest internet exchange that exchange African traffic. At that point, it was, I think, in London. That's in the London Internet Exchange. So it means that both of us communicating here will have to go all the way to London, and then the traffic comes back from London before it gets to him. So the value that the IXP brings is that for those kind of traffic that are destined within a particular region, it doesn't have to London. So you take the traffic, goes through the internet exchange point, it switches it, and it sends it to him. So what it does is it improves the speed, and also it improves, it also saves cost.
Yeah. Okay. So before I go back to my friend Joseph, I want to ask another question to so Kofi, sorry. We said that let me switch in French so that the translator will work a bit. Donc, alors, tout à l'heure, on a parlé, il a parlé.
Now we're gonna go in French. A short time ago, you talked about the exchange point of internet. I would like you to give us a practical example. In Côte d'Ivoire, we have many telephone mobile operators. We have Canal Box here, Orange, MTN. 10 years that we had clients, Orange and Canal Box, the same room here. So let's say, for example, two clients of Canal Box and Orange want to exchange messages. What are the different processes for them to do it? Let's suppose all of those clients are in the same country. So a client of MTN who wants to send a message to a Canal Box client, what are the processes possible? Just to add to what our friends explained a short time ago. Thank you so much. Let's take the case on which the 2 or 3 operators use the exchange points to send and receive message to each other. If they're in Côte d'Ivoire, it is very important to emphasize on the points that the content, the national or local content on which we are talking about are contents that are supposed to stay in the country. It will allow for better flow If they don't go through the exchange points for the second case, there will be an output by passing by our international cables that would transit liaison systems before arriving here. So in terms of quality, I can say that there is a reduced quality in terms of latency. We are not buying time compared to those who are using the exchange points at the national level. Thank you so much. Armand?
Jose, those days we realized that most of the internet exchange points are located in the data center. And working with data center, let's start by the beginning. What is the data center in terms of internet infrastructure? What can you define the data center? Yeah.
It sets and then also concerns around running 24/7.
Yeah.
Data center, we are providing this infrastructure is hosted. So as data center providers, we are providing the space where you can house the infrastructure for the internet exchange point. So there's no need thinking about how you are going to provide power, how you are going to provide cooling, because these are computer systems and they need to be maintained in a particular temperature. That is our responsibility, which we will take care of. Security, because this is a very critical infrastructure. Imagine an exchange point going down. Our responsibility is to make sure that this facility is secure. So you can easily put it as a space where infrastructure is going to be kept and is going to be maintained with power supply 24/7. And that is the role that data centers when it comes to this particular service that we are talking about.
Okay, thank you. Now going to
About data center, our panelist, Mr. Conan. So please, before you start what you want to say, please introduce yourself before I ask you the question to the internet interconnection data center. My name is Raphael Conan. Here today, we are constructing right now we are trying to finalize the construction of a data center. We are recruiting teams who work as operational staff, and DZ is trying to do everything related to interconnection among operators and make sure everything related to the accommodation is done the right way. So I think that by a period of 1 month and a half, we'll be fully operational. Thank you so much. We are happy to see that we will have a data center in Côte d'Ivoire soon. A question I would like to ask is, since we know that all the internet protocols are migrating towards data center, we have seen the role of ISP and other points, and even today we saw about the role of data center. And Joseph said important things about IT security and safety. But now today, in terms of function, the functions are not the same. Data is something else. Internet connection is something else. But today, how are you linking these two functions? How can you explain that above what you said, above what Joseph said, if you want to add something, since more and more entities are going towards data centers? Of course, we know that there are security advantages, but what other extra advantages there are in having an extra data center? I want to give an example. we were getting a lot of different products, and the most used products we had made it possible for the data center to work fully operationally, and it is a context in which all the parties and actors from an ecosystem to work in a very good flow. And what we do is to make sure that all the actors, operational actors from the market, can work in a space, facilitate the exchange of all the actors from the ecosystem. So for us, the data center will make it possible, make it easier for all the actors and parties to talk a platform for exchange. Of course, you will tell me that they can do it internationally, but in a more neutral context, we have seen very recently that in the request from internet providers, they wanted to migrate from an operator from another one, which is more independent. So this offer that we are providing, on top of what Joseph said, is to make sure that this resilience is done the right way in a common space to facilitate the interaction of all the parties. So we are kind of a technological market to help to support all those centers to work the best way possible. So this is also what we are providing. So if I understand well, you bring together ISPs and also services at in the same place, so that together they have better communication to work together and sell different services.
So you are an ISP and you also run ISP. You say that you also operate in data center. And what is the benefit of an ISP to be part of an internet exchange point beyond what you just explained? Why I'm asking this question? Because we have many countries in Africa where we have many service providers that they refuse to join an ISP. So if there is real benefit, why are they refusing to connect to an ISP?
So I would just take it step by step.
Just
The benefits that ISPs would derive when they connect to an exchange point. And I'll use a scenario to explain it. For example, I said we provide data center across different markets in West Africa. So think of it from this perspective. You are an internet service provider with presence in Nigeria, presence in Ghana, presence in Côte d'Ivoire, presence in Abidjan as well, right? And you have international capacity, IP transit link that you buy from, say, a tier 1 ISP that you resell by using your network to distribute across the end users. Now, it is for your benefit to connect to an IXPN, for example, in Nigeria. It is to your benefit to connect to maybe an AM6 as well. It's your benefit to connect to Gixa, Civics in all of this market into your network. Because what that will do for you is that as an ISP, it will enable the local switching of traffic across the ISP within your network, making it within the region. Now, what that will do is it will reduce the traffic that you send upwards through your tier 1 provider, which reduces the amount of money that you end up paying monthly. So there's a cost upside to it, cost benefit to ISPs connecting, because the port cost, if you look at the port cost of a 10G port or 100G port connecting to the IXPs is quite low compared to the cost of a 10G or 100G transit link. So everybody will benefit. The ISPs will save money, they also improve performance, and the end user's experience will be better.
Yes. Monsieur la question est de savoir pourquoi.
I think the question is why other ISPs don't want to change exchange points. He said a lot of things which are true, but they think that they don't want to lose their worth because locally speaking, there is not that much content, and if the traffic remains local, they won't have enough value on the national bandwidth, which is why they may not be interested in this point of exchange because they will lose worth by trading the national bandwidth. Now, it will, of course, reduce their cost, but what they can do is by using local usage that will help them sell local content.
To the importance of IXPs. A few months ago, when we had the major internet outage, it's quite surprising to realize that even in some cases, banks' ATMs were not working. And you're asking yourself, how are these ATMs communicating among each other? So we've gotten to a point whereby we need to highlight the benefit. Assuming these providers connected to the internet exchange points, this outage automatically wouldn't have any effect on the operation of ATMs. There were certain services that naturally you would expect that the services are local, and that is the more reason why we need to push or drum this home so that people get to know the real essence of internet exchange points.
Okay, thank you very much. So now you can keep this, yeah. So now we are talking about the importance of an exchange point, an ISP, but the question that is coming is who could join? Because so now we spoke about the aims of matter. We have universities, we have me as a user. So who could join?
All right. So the internet exchange points, anyone can join. I'll use the word anyone. I mean, when we say internet service provider, the reason why we focus on the internet service provider, because we know by their business model, they have the responsibility to resell to most of the end users. Now, we have big players that play a part in the entire internet ecosystem in terms of how everything comes together. You have the content providers, you have the CDN networks, and then you have the ISPs, then you have the large enterprise or even public institutions that carries huge traffic. So IXPs are for entities that route huge traffic over the internet. Now, it gives you that platform where you come together and exchange routes. So you have those that have the content, they're feeding their content into the exchange, hoping that the guys who have the networks will come and connect, that have access to the end user so they can access this content.
All right. So you have to ask something, yeah.
Ce qui concerne les acteurs qui peuvent se raccorder sur le point d'échange, c'est la question là.
Ça, c'est le cas du CIVIX, parce que so I said look at the quantity of the traffic zones organization have to create the opportunities for the big organizations of the big companies. Beyond that, in Côte d'Ivoire, in Abidjan especially, and at the civic, who can get connected. Thank you very much, Breeze. Not to come back on my words. Here is at the civic, who can get connected. First and foremost, to get connected to the civic, a structure or a company who has a public number or an IP address which is eligible to get connected. Now, activity. This week, it's up from the active operators, commercial exchanges, because they respect the nation, the areas number, and I think that the activities put them to the exchange point. So they come to the exchange point. There's other companies as FDO. So we are working together so they can join the exchange point. But I think first and foremost, so the basis is the requirement are you have to have your number if you are eligible. You can join the point of exchange according to your priorities. So as the exchange point operators, we can call you to say, sir, you need the requirement that you can join the exchange points. So regarding those factors, sometimes they'll join it. So no, for the like on the but that decided to stay together. So for you, it's a call for governance structure and action plans.
D'accord, je pense que quelle est la meilleure gouvernance d'information Internet. Donc,
so as we have different ISPs, we have a data center which are working on the same framework. So what is the best model of governance? So I would like to ask if there is a better way to work. Because there are different models today, there are different patterns of working. So there are different patterns put in place by the government. There are some private ones, there are associations, there are even private university still existing in the world. So to me, the best governance is the governance that taking into account all the actors and that reassure the actors and give them confidence. Today we have an exchange point. So a public exchange point, we have a model of governance that need everyone to take part in it. We have a committee which name is pro-civic. So with this committee, actually, when it has an issue, designate someone to solve it. And it has a specific mission according to the different activities. And in the charge of in the functional chart, you have the different rules and different mission, and all the big decisions concerning the evolution of our community. So together, we decide together, we see what is best for us to make our business forward. I think this is one of the best, also in West Africa, because we experience. So we know that so many people are getting inspiration from this. And the actors and our exchange are evolving really good.
or in the other countries where you are present, how do you govern? I mean, the internet exchange points. How are you doing? What's the model that's in place there?
Okay, this is an interesting question.
C'est une question très intéressante.
Different drivers or what stimulates even in each country to set up an IXP. The private, the public. And because of the fact that it's private, it means those initiatives were created by private entity to kind of achieve a particular purpose. What I would say is just understanding how IXP works and the benefit. In my view, the best way to govern it should be neutral and it should be open. Every stakeholder, every part or networks or member connecting to that exchange should have the same stake, right? Because you're bringing people together to connect, exchange traffic. So it's better when it is open, people can easily connect. That's when you start to derive the benefit of an IXP.
So just building on from the index.
Alors, donner l'esprit de transparence, le fait est que c'est ouvert. Alors, les instructions et la politique doivent rendre les choses plus claires. Alors, si je viens, je sais quel processus suivre, alors, et quelle chose faire. Alors, la prochaine question est, alors, nous savons, alors, ça doit être sémantique. Alors, si je dis cela, je veux faire de l'argent. Alors, comment faire de l'argent dans le système qu'il y a accès? Alors, comment on fait de l'argent à travers un point d'échange Internet? Alors, il y a une question qui arrive. Alors, comment faire de l'argent lorsque c'est ouvert à tous?
De valeur. La valeur réside.
Alors, so the value is in the volume of traffic and the capacity of exchanging more and more volumes. So it's traffic. So the artist was speaking about it, about just like a GEE, where it's a kind of non-profit organization. So there of course some costs like some maintaining fees. So the exchange rate should not be an interest. So it should be government in order to create local riches.
Analogy of, let's say, building road infrastructure. Naturally, when you build road infrastructure, it doesn't give you money. But the use of the road infrastructure is what gives you money. So we see an internet exchange point as an enabler, not as a revenue generating infrastructure. Once we see it that way, then naturally the revenues will follow.
Okay.
The revenues will for the members. And because it is open and neutral, doesn't mean it is free, right? Because most exchanges will charge a fee for the port. And just like my colleague said, those fees required for maintaining and running and all of that. So it should not be a platform where someone seeks to make profit or make money out of it, but it is something that enables growth. Because if you look at the entire digital landscape of technology and how things grow, the IXP plays critical role. So unless you have a very functional, neutral, open, can exchange traffic, you debate certain growth in certain technology aspects in your economy. So it helps grow the economy because it's other things.
About to make money out of the production. So the purpose is to make money. So I was asking this because today exchange point. We have neutral public exchange point, and they make money. So they have services around the exchange point in order to maintain themselves and grow. So in Central Africa, where the different operators of exchange point, internet exchange point, public internet exchange point, had some worries toward the so related to the private exchange points. We had more and, and they were drawing to them more traffic. So are these worries true? And to help the neutral exchange points to be as competitive as the others. So how to help them get sophisticated in order to draw more companies to get connected to those exchange points. So are those worries true? Or can the public exchange point operators be competitive?
Related to the money was because we have some ISP that are making money out of the service that they are giving, because it's not only interconnected, peers, but behind they have services, they have workshop, they have access to, if there are any cast, etc., those services that they are selling, and those services are seen as attractive for the other organization that prefer to join the private one instead of the private one where we just connect. So is it, and this see that a fear for the local one, the public one. So do you think that this fear is legitimate? And if so, how can the public and neutral work? What can they do to be more competitive? So, okay, Mr. Joseph, allez-y.
Moi, je pense que la peur vient on manque de contenu. Voilà.
It's coming from the lack of content. So bringing in international exchange point, they have services behind. So they are just selling the different services with their partners. There are some investment also to endorse. So to fix this question of worries is to draw more in our vision. So to take this step, big providers ought to have strategic partnership with them so that they can have access to this cash. So we also want to reduce the costs, the different fees. So even if we have partners coming with different to settle here, we also have to respect the international practices. So the best is to lead directly those providers. So it's going to fix the worries issues, and it's also going to reduce the different costs. So the service will still be sold, but not the exchange point. So the other part also is to be endorsed. So inviting those companies will also enable to invest in other areas of the economy. So it will be really good to reduce the different costs and make profit from those local markets.
Mostly the focus in building this infrastructure, we start off with money first. First, let's look at building the ecosystem. How do you build the ecosystem such that those who give you the money will come in? That is when you have a lot more local ISPs all talking to each other, all concentrated in a particular point. Then that platform becomes attractive for those who give us the money to come in. So let's first look at building the ecosystem and then increasing the number of providers that are connected at these exchange points.
All right. Just to add to what my colleague said, if you think of why IXP in the first place, it's about building the internet community. So for me, I don't think competition is something you can do it in life. For everything we do, there's someone else who also tries better. And if you think of the internet community, either it's probably IXP, they all seek to achieve the same thing, which is help to grow the internet community. So for me, I think it's more around partnership, like how can the private IXP partner together to achieve that goal of helping build that internet community ecosystem. Colleague has said, at the end of the day, everyone will benefit from it. Everyone, the ISPs, even the operators of the public ISPs. So you can think of expansion, right? So public ISPs, they can expand their services, take it into more regions, more state, more localities where smaller ISPs can connect. Now, if the private ISPs have some peculiar services that they offer, they can work out something. They can have a working model, a functional model, that community.
Je vais juste dire que la crainte est légitime.
I just want to say that the worries are legitimate. So we need to have rules and we need to work together with other, because this question is frequent and it comes generally. So we need to have different rules. So public exchange of private ones. So we would like the consumers to be happy. So we need to face the challenges to meet the different requirements of the consumers, and then start cooperating with the private.
De la taille ou des moyens que les uns et les autres envoient, du moment qu'ils travaillent tous pour faire avancer Internet dans le pays, dans l'écosystème Internet africain et dans le monde, il faut plutôt penser coopération que penser compétition. Donc, c'est très important. Alors, aujourd'hui, nous sommes dans une ère où la sécurité est vraiment importante. Et lorsque... The English is okay now? Say no. Okay, I will explain. Donc, aujourd'hui, nous parlons plus de sécurité parce qu'il fait vraiment...
Which are in competition in quality.
Donc, quelles sont les mesures de sécurité qui sont mises en
Where the security measurements are being implemented so that everybody can really connect. Because I know that in the beginning, when we're implementing some exchange points for internet, we say that if I connect, won't the other one have access to my infrastructure? So these were the questions that were being asked. So
okay, so I was talking about the security measure because we are calling different organizations that are in competition. When we talk about customers, we are ISP, we have the same target, so we are competing on this ground, and we are asking to work together to come and connect our network to this layer 2 or this layer 3 device. So at the end of the day, I'm like, okay, is it not the trap, etc., etc. So what are the security measures you guys are putting in place? And also for my friend of Ratio, today, XPs are most of the time located in data center. So do you have like a special security measure when it's come to AXP? So that's for you. And the other question is for you guys in the ASP, if you have like, special security measure or something like or standardized thing that you guys put in place so that everybody can connect freely without, being like, am I exposing my network? And yeah. Wait, what's that? Yes.
Bien, donc,
So in our environment, we as data center providers, our strategic choice is neutrality. So the first security that we provide is a physical security. We provide physical security. We have 7 physical securities before touching or having access to an equipment. So from the entry into the site, the access control, the energy zones and energy preparation and even to the rack hall. And so these are 7 physical security levels. So is firstly with a physical stand of surveillance, and so inside and outside we have security. So that was the first level. So the second level for our neutrality partnership ratio, talking about neutrality, cooperative ones are within the data center. We also offer the cohabitation of actors and security system with whom we can work, and whether an actor or ISP, they can benefit from the security. So I wouldn't say it is impossible, but we are just trying to neutralize it as we can. So, and after that, then we have strategic partners with whom we work in order to provide security, in terms of environment, data environment. Then we have redundancies of the togetherness of the site that is with offered to all the partners, digital realities, Unix, and even the other ones with whom we create redundance partnership for prosecuting and continuing the activity. So these are the levels that we offer.
Or physical security, which is what typically data center providers we do, because clearly the infrastructure that is in there, we don't have a lot of control over. Ours is to make sure that physically you don't have access to the infrastructure. But I believe the internet exchange points also have various firewalls to do some level of logical protection. And this, we believe that once these are in place, if you are connecting, clearly you should have within your minds that you are connecting to an infrastructure with your data that is fully secured and protected.
XI Center, currently I don't run IXPs, but from my understanding of how IXP should be run, I think security is not what you leave to just an entity, right? So if you're thinking about committing to an IXP, you as a to also think about how secured you are. And I think what the IXP seeks to do is to give the members the choice to choose how you want to connect. If you want to expose your prefix to the, you want to put the server and be selective on who have access. Your peers, where they have to send a direct email to establish a bilateral. Each company has a policy, and unless they see that the next provider has that policy, they will not exchange traffic. So there are a lot of measures that governs how it operates, and I think each individual decides what is comfortable with them and who they want to exchange traffic with.
Well, I think yes, I think they are the same things. A peering policy. So these are terms that go on the infrastructures to carry the physical redundancy. So I think they have touched all the parts
questions. Je pense qu'on tire à la fin. J'ai une dernière question avant de donner quelques minutes à l'audience s'ils ont des questions. La question est relative au challenge et aux défis que les points d'échange Internet rencontrent dans leur expansion. Je pose cette question parce que on a énormément de bénéfices à avoir un point d'échange Internet dans nos pays, mais malheureusement, il y a des pays qui n'en ont pas, ou il y a des pays qui en ont, mais où il y a très peu de trafic. Donc, quelles sont les difficultés que vous rencontrez dans la gestion quotidienne des points d'échange? Is that okay? So that you guys may face while running
Alors, nous avons
at a point with low traffic or maybe no non-traffic. And we have countries where we are more, we have countries where people don't want to connect, etc., etc. So what are the challenges that you guys are facing while running this interconnection points? Yeah. So you want to start? Okay.
Yeah, let's start. So just going back to why we need an internet exchange point. Like I said, it is to help the internet community. If you think of the internet community, it's a network of networks that connects everything and bring it all together, right? You have the cloud providers, the content providers, all of them, all services, all coming together. It's a way where you can reach them. Now, one of the challenges, or most that ISP face, that created a platform to fix the community to get benefit. So it's difficult to understand why you see something that creates this value and you need to be convinced why you need to get that value. Now, one of the other constraints is the fact that you go into some countries and the way the IXPs are operated, I would say it's not really open, it's selective. And for me, once you have an exchange point that becomes selective, it kind of defeats the entire purpose why you created that platform. Now, if the platform is open, the benefit is enormous. And thinking about the exchange traffic within the country, it also helps to bring further innovation, further development, like I've mentioned. Content players, for example, most times invest in this when we see traffic being aggregated and coming together. Now, if the traffic is decentralized and not getting interconnected in a platform, it becomes difficult for you to see the value of to invest and put those in this market. So the benefit of everyone aggregate the traffic, we improve the performance, then we get the template seeing that this market and build further invest, bring this content closer, and then the entire benefit goes into that market exchange.
One observation that I know of is the fact that internet exchange points started quite slowly in our part or our region. So you realize that most of these people who drive a lot of traffic naturally found operators who have a lot more traffic too. So what is happening is that these direct connections exist at the same time. We are having these IXPs now set up. So just like I stated earlier, it takes a while. But let's not give up at this very early stage to say people are not connecting. Let's continue to do the sensitization. And once people connect, we'll begin to get the real value. Thank you.
Very quickly, just to say that one of the challenges or the elements that makes it sometimes that an exchange point does not work is not functional in our countries or our regions is that we must get to give an interest to the users, to those who come to connect to the exchange point who have customers behind. So if we can get to this total addition of the actors, I think the exchange point will work. Thank you.
The elephant in the room, but I'll say it. One of the biggest constraints for most big players is the fact that they monetize the route. So then making that network available within the exchange, they see it as giving away the monetize, right? If you think of the entire landscape, just like I've mentioned, you realize that when you give away to the exchange point, you're making the saving somewhere else because the traffic, the exchange, you are reducing your costs somewhere else. So most times, because they see as if the small for more because they have already built the network, they've invested a lot of capex to aggregate all those routes in the network and just connect to the exchange, connecting and giving them for free. It's not commercially sensible for them. So those are some of the challenges. Yeah.
So thank you, my dear panelists. So now I'm going to open the floor for questions. And yeah.
Thank you. Yes. You mentioned security at the exchange point. And I realize most of the people on the table here are not operators of an exchange point. So it's good to just elaborate. What we do at IXP is physically, apart from all the physical layer security, we want to ensure that no switches are connected to the exchange points. Because with switches, it does broadcast storm and other things. So we want to ensure that is a layer 3 device connected. Even with layer 3, we tend to put it on port quarantine to observe what is coming out of the router. There is what is called Cisco Discovery Protocol. There is link layer discovery protocol and other protocols that are being broadcasted. We want to make sure that there is a physical hygiene on that port first. Then there is what is called port security. That particular port with device that is connected to that port, we tie it using the MAC address of that device to ensure that you cannot unplug that device,
put another one,
and put another one. That is another security layer. In terms of the BGP setting up, we want to ensure that the BGP is also secured using a password. We exchange those passwords with our customers when they're pairing with the route server to ensure that no one can take that BGP session. We also ensure that using RPKI, resource public key infrastructure, the resources that have been advertised are actually secured because and to ensure that there is no prefix hijacking. You are the owner of those prefixes. So at IXPN, we are compliant with manners, mutually acceptable routes for manners, mutually acceptable routing for norms for routing security. Sorry. Yes. So we are compliant with that, though we didn't go public, to ensure that that is also done. There are other things that we do, like separating the pairing LAN from the public LAN and so many other layers to ensure security of the members that are interconnected. That's just my contribution.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your response. Question, contribution. You mentioned RPKI. I'm going to talk about routing security. I think that will be the last session. I don't know. It's an agenda. I'll talk about routing security. So I'm going to talk about. Oh, okay. All right. So if we don't have questions from the audience, we have one question for you guys. So what is for you the take for this session? What do you want? If you don't know what to say, 30 seconds.
I'm sorry for the connect to the IXP. It is for the benefit of the community. It has social benefits. It has social benefit. By the time we start thinking of the impact that is in your community, it makes sense to connect to the IXP. Yes, we might lose some things, but what we will benefit from cost savings, improved performance, it's enough to compensate for whatever we're giving away to connect to the exchange point. And this is the West African platform. I think one takeaway that I want to share with everyone here is to say, how do we bring all of the network in West Africa together? How do we enable that inter-country traffic routing within West Africa? I think there are areas where we can improve on, and I want us to all think about it because it's all to our benefit.
Yes. I would like to firstly thank you and then ask our actors from our different countries and regions to comply. And there is one word I used to mention is to have to trust.
Previously, infrastructure was lacking. Submarine cables came in, centers are coming, let's take advantage of it to each other and the benefit out of it.
Et donc, coopérons le plus possible.
Let's cooperate as more as possible. We all actors and with the exchange points, let's create more contents to create more traffic for the benefit of all the actors. Thank you all for this interesting panel. So we're going to talk about the internet exchange points. So we talked about data center that with me, most of exchange points are today giving opportunities to operators, to customers, and even to services to be seen. So this was a very good thing. So we had so many advantages, benefit. We talked about cost decreasing, also talked about the access, and we have so many benefits that the panelists talked about, and also the difficulty, the challenges. And we said that these challenges shouldn't be a strain for the organizers, for the companies who have them as action points. So on this, I will stop and just to say that infrastructures evolve, and just like the panelist said, for wide bands, for band wide, we have data centers. Let's get the best of this infrastructure that come. Nina, thank you.